Hello friends, my name is David Clay and I want to welcome you to another video. I hope you've seen the other videos on the Gospel of Thomas and the various sayings. This one is on saying number 37. I'm going to give you the meaning of Numbers 37, the mystical meaning of it. I want to say something before I do that though. I want to congratulate each of you. If you're watching this video, it means you have an interest in the Gospel of Thomas. It means you've evidently read some of the sayings or maybe all of them in the Gospel of Thomas. And that says a lot about you. It means that you're awakening. You're awakening to your own higher divine consciousness. Be patient. It will come. It takes time. But your whole life changes when it does. So stick and stay. It's bound to pay, as the old saying goes. Anyway, I want to explain to you from the very beginning that there's a great deal of difference between the Gospel of Thomas, the theme of the Gospel of Thomas, and the Bible, in the New Testament particularly, in the Bible in general. Christianity, you've got to understand this, Christianity has changed since it began over 2,000 years ago. And the Christianity that we have today is not the Christianity that started out. It's not the early form of Christianity. What is called proto-Christianity. Some have called it proto-Christianity before. It means the earliest form of Christianity. Before it was even known as Christianity, it was called the Way. This is what the apostles and the various people that followed Jesus during the first years called it. Was simply the Way. It wasn't called Christianity at all. I want you to know that there's a tremendous difference. Tremendous difference. You've got to realize that like the Gospel of Thomas, they just had scraps and pieces of it. They didn't even know about hardly, except what the other church fathers had written about it. In the comments that they had made, where they gave certain quotes, in the early development of the traditional mainstream church, the church we have today, which all came out of the Catholic Church, which was the only church at one time. But there's tremendous difference. The Bible has been tampered with, the New Testament has been tampered with over the past 1600, 1700 years, since the foundation of the church. I mean, that's proof. I mean, scholars know this. Ministers know this. If they've been to a qualified seminary, they know this. Of course, traditionalists, fundamentalists will say, no, it's the Word of God. It's sacrosanct as it is. It's infallible. I mean, it's just, there's a lot wrong with it. There's a lot wrong with it. A lot's been changed. Of course, a lot has remained the same, which I found surprising in my investigations over the past 55 years. But it is a different Christianity from what early Christianity was. Early Christianity was far more mystical, and far more spirit-filled. The early Christians, if you read in the New Testament today, in the Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, you will read about the way the Christians conducted themselves when they would preach, on street corners and when the crowd would gather. They would give a sermon and then would turn right around and give a demonstration of the spiritual power that was behind that sermon. Now, how many times do you see that in churches today? You don't. You don't see that. You don't see healings and things like that. Oh, I know there are evangelists that come on television and say they heal and pray out loud, but the first thing that strikes me about all that is how they are violating the rules of prayer to begin with. In any church that I've ever been in my life, they've always violated the rules of prayer. First thing, where Jesus says, go and pray in your closet, close the door behind you, and pray in secret, where he who sees in secret will reward thee publicly, openly. They don't do that. They pray out loud. You don't pray out loud. If you go through the New Testament and look at each time where Jesus is praying or getting ready to go into prayer, he says that he separates himself. It says he goes a little ways away. He goes a little over here. The same thing with Peter. Remember when he went on the rooftop and prayed? Time and time again, you'll never see Jesus, and you'll never see Jesus pray before he does one of his miracles. Now, he gave thanks when he divided the fishes and the loaves. That's a different thing. That's giving thanks. But he didn't pray for any power, any special power, anything like that. I'll have more to say on that in another video, but in this one I want to cover the saying number 37. 37. Let me read it to you. I have it here on the card. I can't remember them all even though I've read them 10,000 times. Saying number 37 from the Gospel of Thomas. If you have a copy of the Gospel of Thomas, you might want to read along with me. His disciples said, "When you will appear to us, and when will we see you?" They want to see Jesus. Jesus said, "When you strip without being ashamed, and you take your clothes and put them under your feet like little children and trample them, then you will see the Son of the Living One, and you will not be afraid." That's, if you read it and just take it at face value, it seems ridiculous. Why would anyone, first off, ever want to do that? Well, that's not what Jesus' point is here. What he's saying is, and again, this goes back to the theme, one of the major themes in the Gospel of Thomas, is the resolution of opposites, the negation of polarity. You remember from saying 22, if you've listened to the other videos, in saying number 22, where it says, when you make the two into one, and when you make the inner like the outer, and the outer like the inner, and the upper like the lower, and when you make the male and the female into a single one. And he uses all of these integrations of opposites, overcoming the law of polarity. When you get to the point that you've overcome the law of polarity, then this world, and that's a hard thing to do. It takes a lot of meditation and prayer and dedication to your effort. But evidently, if you're watching this video, it means you're awakening anyway. So congratulate yourself, as I said, and you're on your way. But you've got to think a lot about polarity. Be thinking about that as you think about things in the future, because this has to be overcome. This is the one thing that really separates this world from the spiritual world. Is in the spiritual world there is no polarity. In this world, the space-time continuum, of course, there is polarity. But you've got to overcome polarity in order to become totally a heightened state of consciousness. So begin working on it now. You may say, well, why would I overcome polarity? Well, why would you not? Because that's the path to spiritual enlightenment, is to overcome the world of polarity. Because if you overcome the world of polarity, it means you've overcome this world. Because everything in this world has an opposite. Everything. It's just the nature of this world. Okay, I hope that explains saying number 37 to you. And I have another video coming up very soon on prayer. On prayer, the proper way to pray, and to have, see, prayer is a formula. Prayer is not a hit and miss proposition like a lot of times Christian prayer seems to be. It should work every single time. If you pray and you pray correctly, your prayer will be answered. Yeah, that's right. I know you've had many prayers not answered, I'm sure, if you've prayed the traditional way, but the traditional way you learn to pray, I can assure you, 99.99%, I can assure you, anybody that's learned to pray in a Christian church has learned to pray the long way. So be looking for this video when it comes up, because it's really important. Also consider donating to us. We are in the process of putting up a website, and it's really an expensive proposition. So we need your support if we continue doing this. If you're getting value out of this video and the other videos, consider giving us a donation, subscribing to us through Patreon. If you would like to do that, you can go to patreon.com//Secrets of Thomas. Patreon.com/Secrets of Thomas. Doesn't matter if it's a small amount, $5 a month, or if you want to give $100 a month or $1,000 a month, whatever. This website's costing us a lot of money, so we do need your support. If you're getting value, give value back. That's a good deal to have. All right, until the next video, I'm David Clay saying thanks.